Hey guys, this is Jen DeLeon, and today I have a very special guest here at Dash Radio, David Banner. How are you doing?
Man, it's awesome, man. I'm honored to be here. I was around during the inception of Dash Radio, when Ski was basically just DJing, the focus was on him.
Yeah.
And to come to Dash now to see a corporate structure, is a blessing. Like I'm humbled and I'm happy. And just to go a little bit deeper, when I signed with SRC, before I signed the big $10 million deal with SRC, back in the day, when I first came to SRC, Ski was the first person I met because he was working for Steve Rifkin at the time.
Oh, wow.
So like literally I met Ski
day one
before I met Steve Rifkin.
Wow.
And this is really funny and none of you all are going to believe this. Me and Ski bonded, and this is crazy, over Jordans and Cadillacs.
The Jordans I can see. I didn't know Ski with
He used to love
Cadillacs. Really?
I mean, well, of course, I ain't gonna say that. Ski written jets now, so Cadillacs are really low on the, for style points, always the J's. But, it's also, it's humbling to see other people's dream come true because I've amassed so much success and my company is doing very, very well. So, me and him was just talking about it's great now that someone in our age bracket that we can have intellectual conversations because I've done millions and millions of dollars worth of deals and Dash is doing the same thing now. So I'm humbled and grateful to be able to see, the maturation of a dream and a thought.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the people who are tuned in now didn't hear the conversation, but that's why I didn't even want to interrupt. I'm like, this is like a moment. I'm like, they're really talking about stuff. And again, it's whenever you see an artist, or it's always just like, oh, it's about I have this, and this going on, or I have this car, I have that. So when you were talking about just spiritual, which is what I want to get into, my interviews are never about music and what people can Google about you. I like to get to know the person as a human
You heard
being.
what Ski said. Ski asked me, how can we help you? What do you have going on so that the corporation can help you? And I told him, I need you to be okay.
Exactly.
Like all the rest of the stuff, it'll work itself out. But I care about him. Ski helped me. Ski and DJ Vaughn, Big Vaughn in the Bay Area. They were two people that helped me when my career took those bumps. When a lot of people turned their back on me. And, although me and Ski have a personal relationship, at the time, this was like even during the inception of Ski TV. Yeah. He had the least amount of time to help. And he was the one like, Banner, whatever you need. It was, it was so matter-of-factly that it seemed like he was playing. He was like, man, you know how Ski do.
That's how Ski is. He's just like,
whatever you need. Yeah, I got you. What you need? You need me to push this button on this record? Oh, yeah, okay. Just boop. Oh, he meant it. But I'm grateful, and I'm so proud of you all, man, and however I can help in the scope of what we do. And the funny thing is, with me being a revolutionary and with me pushing for my people as much as I do, this is a great example. Ski is one of my greatest homeboys. And this shows people, because people take for granted sometimes when a person says that he's a revolutionary or that he believes in Black power. Black power has nothing to do with hating somebody else. It's just about loving self. And today was a great example of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's funny to me, and I was telling one of the people that I work with is that in my career, Ski is one of the people who assisted me the most. And I forgot. I don't know if he wants me to tell people this, but like, I forgot I was the one that hooked up the Forbes interview for him.
Damn.
And that was really big. Like I did that. And he was like, Banner, you don't remember doing that? I was like, sort of, yeah. And then after he talked about it, I did remember because I'm really good. Like with one of the people that's way up in Forbes is one of my really good homies. And they were asking me like, I was like, yo, Ski is really moving. Yeah. And y'all should probably check Ski out. And I hooked him up on the phone like, hey, yo, Ski, Forbes, Ski. And then I just went back to doing what I
Yeah.
do. And he was like, no, Banner, you were actually really big in some of the stuff that I did. And I was like, bro, I didn't do it because I wanted anything. I didn't want no accolades. I just want you to be okay.
But, and see, when you have that kind of intention and that mentality, that's why you're so blessed.
Yeah.
It's people ask me all the time, they're like, how do you get this? Or how do you do that? And I when I see people, you can work hard. That's true. I'm like, my intention, I'm like the things I do for people, I don't post on social media. No one knows what I really do behind the scenes. All they see is what they see on Instagram for work. I'm like, but it's God. I'm like, I'm blessed. I'm like, God blesses me because I'm doing what I know my purpose is. And I'm trying to be a blessing to other people. I'm like, that's why. And he's the same way. He doesn't go around saying like, oh, I did this, and this. So no one has any idea.
And it's not for that reason.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I will tell you this, and this is only in my belief system, is that yes, God blesses you, but before that blessing can manifest, you have to be obedient.
Exactly.
Like I tell people, I don't believe that you can believe in God and fate at the same time. Mm-hmm. Because if you believe things that were fated to happen, then they don't have nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
God already said it was going to be done, so you shouldn't go to heaven or hell because you're just a mechanism.
Yeah.
I don't believe that God bestowed upon us free will. Mm-hmm. And with free will, I tell people all the time when they talk to me about Jesus, I always tell people I don't believe that Jesus is coming back. Mm-hmm. I believe Jesus was a mechanism to show you that we can be God on earth if we do the things that Jesus did. Exactly. So we want another person to bear our cross, when in actuality, Jesus showed you that you can bear your own cross. And I'm not saying, whatever people believe in, but I just mean in general, we heroism is one of the biggest faults in America, period, because we build up these people to being these flawless caricatures, when in actuality, the struggle, the flaws are what actually make them into who they are. I remember I saw somebody said that Instagram don't show the struggle.
It doesn't.
And the struggle shows the child how they can be you, or to know that Malcolm X was a pimp. Yeah. And he still turned into who he is. That, Martin Luther King had a couple side pieces every now and then. Yeah. Not that that's a good thing, but when our children make mistakes, they was like, oh, I can make those mistakes and still be that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And speaking, that was originally why you're coming. It was for Never Heard. And Never Heard is a film that's coming out. It will be on November 1st. But I like
November 1st. Yes.
Yes. I like the concept of it because you talked about mistakes, and it's about how you can make mistakes, but you don't have to live by your mistakes, and you can still go about another course. So that's why I wanted this all to be about spiritual inspiration. I loved it. So you said you talked about how you just have to be obedient to get those blessings. What's something where, because it's hard. I think a lot of people, when they think like, oh, having faith is not easy. It's not. But the people who do it, they understand the reward when you have that. What was something that you had to overcome that you just didn't want to be obedient about, but you knew you had to, and when you finally did, you saw the reward?
My anger. My anger is my biggest problem in my whole entire life. My father, before he passed, he said, the only thing that I worry about you is your anger. Okay. And the problem with my anger is that I thought my anger was justified because I don't do nothing to people. Okay. When I hustled, I never got fronted nothing. My father, I don't believe in, somebody else. I don't believe in being put on. You put on your children. You don't put on another grown man. Another grown man should work and earn his spot at the table. So I would always get angry. It's like, why would a rapper say something about me? I run my own company. I do my own beats. I pay for my album, The God Box. I paid for that. Yeah. I paid over $100,000 of my own money. You know what I'm saying? To make better music during the time when better music didn't necessarily sell. Yeah. Me and Ninth Wonder's album, Death of a Pop Star, I spent over $100,000 on that. And I don't gossip. I don't talk about other rappers unless I've said it to their face or I want them to know, but I don't gossip behind people's backs. So I was always wondering, I'm never bothered anybody. Why would somebody bother me? Mm-hmm. So that was my excuse for my anger. Then I realized that, and understand when I say this, I don't believe in the devil as a entity. I believe if you believe that there's only one God, regardless of what religion you believe in, and that one God is omnipotent and created everything, then how dare would you even bring another entity in the fold when you're talking about something that created that entity? You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I think that groups of people created the devil so that you won't realize that you are your own devil.
Exactly.
You know, it's me.
I heard this crazy thing. It was one of the last messages I watched, and they said, you're not doing enough for the devil to want to try to stop you. It's like, and that's where it comes in, where it's like you're bringing on these problems to yourself, and you're not working on yourself. So it's, whenever I hear that, that's why I love that you said it, because it is.
So it's like, I tell women all the time, have you ever noticed in a lot of cases that you date the same man in a different body?
Yeah.
It's not the men, it's you.
Exactly.
As soon as you change you, then those types of men will go away. Have you ever noticed a male, he'll leave LA and then go to Mississippi and get in trouble at his grandma's house. Then they'll ship him to Louisiana, then he get back in trouble. Then they send him back to LA, he get in trouble again. It's not the devil, it's you. When you change your vibrations and shift your positioning on that plane, and you go to a higher level, then higher things will come to you. But if we blame something like the devil, an outside entity, people always say, that the devil said the greatest misconception was making people think that the devil didn't exist. I think it's the opposite. I think the greatest problem is convincing you that a devil does exist.
Yeah, so you can use it as an excuse.
Right, as an excuse not to heal yourself. But just in short, to answer your question, my biggest thing was realizing that no one can make you mad. You can only give that emotion away. So I realized I don't even argue with people who don't have enough to lose as I do. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I argue, I get in trouble. That person has nothing to lose. I have everything to lose. I have a company to run. I have a nation of people to assist in leading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anytime that you get angry, you let go your mental facilities. Even when I speak, I speak all over the world now. I mean, I've been a keynote speaker for over 300,000 people at one time.
That's amazing.
I can speak 3 times better than I actually speak, but I always tell people I don't want you to catch the so-called Holy Ghost. I want you to keep your faculties. I want you to make decisions based on rational things. Because if God wanted us to be willy-nilly and all over the place and all over the world, then God wouldn't have given us free will. We would have been like dogs and other animals who do things because it's seasonal. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? And if you look at the film Never Heard, initially I said I didn't want to play any more incarcerated black men in movies anymore, because I think that's a stereotype that the world is pushing out. I'll give you an example. I just saw a recent statistic that said that actually black men are more involved in their children's life than any subsection of man in this population. But even though that statistic is out, even black people themselves still push that stereotype. So initially I was real hesitant about playing Aaron in Never Heard, but I realized this is my opportunity to jump into dialogue because I played this part. I'll give you an example. While he was in jail, his wife divorced him. When he went into jail, his son was born, and the reason why they call it Never Heard is because his son never heard his father speak before. Oh, wow. So he's trying to get out of jail to stop his son from coming into jail. As he comes out, he ends up, I'm giving you a little spoiler, he ends up winning his wife back. Okay. It's a level of redemption. Have you ever noticed when most people paint pictures about black people, it's just about the end result. It's not about the things that happen to make them that way. And what I always tell people is that Africans didn't get off of that boat acting the way that they act now. But other people don't want to make movies about that, because then it'll place the ownership, on them also, you know.
No, it's all of it sounds amazing. And I liked when you talked about the anger and how you realize that you have full control over that, and it's also a faith-based thing where he has faith. I haven't seen the movie yet because it's not out yet, but even when I just saw the trailer, it just made me want to watch it because I'm like, this is intense. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll find out what's going to happen in a few days. But what's a time in your life where you took a leap of faith? I love hearing those kind of stories because
my whole life is I've been leaping.
Yeah.
Actually, when I see Will Smith doing the things that he's doing on YouTube and on his social media platform, that's what I've been doing all my life. I'm a black man from Mississippi. Like, we don't run towards fear. We run away from it. But I realized in order to be successful, a wise man told me that your success is right behind whatever you fear the most. So moving to New York homeless. I moved to New York homeless. I left the South when I had the '1 record in hip hop with Chris Brown, Get Like Me. I moved to the West Coast by myself.
Okay.
I've jumped out of planes. I swam with sharks. Just recently, I'll tell you something that I wasn't even going to tell anybody this, but I'm enjoying your want to actually take a leap of faith about talking about faith in this industry. So I'll give you this. This company wanted to pay me a lot of money to play in this television show because they wanted someone who had actually been through some of these situations before. So they wanted to pay me to play this part. And they was like, oh yeah, David Banner, by the way, he's a drug dealer. That's when I just put out my album, The God Box. And I don't know, I have this connection with children or young people that a lot of people from my age bracket don't have, and I didn't know why. So I went on this radio show, and dude said these kids are actually being raised online because a lot of them don't have fathers. So they looking at people who look strong and look like they would be the stereotypical great father, and they're watching all of their videos. So I realized I can't allow people to use my 6'2", dark-skinned, black, non-comedic frame to further perpetuate black fear globally, because America uses black people's pain as their entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So I was in a very big, I'm paying my last payment next week to the government. Like, I make a lot of money, but most of my money went to paying back. Like, when I got that really big deal I told you about, I didn't pay no taxes on it. Wrong answer. Wrong answer.
At least you're down to the last part.
Yeah, and I didn't go to jail. They'll send your ass to jail quick. But I actually told that company no. And I don't think they had ever met a black man, in the industry that turned down that amount of money with no problems at all. I told him, I said, because she was like, are you sure? I wasn't even the star. I was the main antagonist. Yeah. But she was like, we will work around your schedule. You tell us when you want to come to work. Yeah. And I was like, there's nothing that you can, offer me right now that can make me do that. Now, if it was some astronomical amount of money where I could have took that money and done something really big for my people, or built a school or something like that, maybe I would have considered it. But, from a culture perspective, my father told me it's not what you will do that makes you a man, it's what you won't do. And never heard, Aaron had lost his faith in God, but didn't lose faith in his son's life. Didn't you lose faith in his marriage with his wife? All the things that they stereotypically say a black man doesn't do. Yeah. And then through that process, found his way back to God. So never heard November 1st. Go to fathomevents.com right now, because it's only playing one day, and that's really important, because what they're doing with a lot of independent films, is that they are testing the grounds. Faith-based films with positive endings, we're going to see how that works out. And if people come out like they're supposed to, then we can have 5, 10 more. So it's a test. And I'm going to be honest with you, as a businessman, because I'm sort of torn now. Yes, I am all touchy-feely artist, but I'm also a very successful businessman. So why would I invest in something that the people are not going to give me a return for? And two, so I can understand why a person wouldn't want to dump all of this money and all of that space into something that people haven't proven that can work. But I mean, even if you look at the residual return for something like Black Panther, the only thing that I now ask is, why can't we do that ourselves and for ourselves? So, you know, we working in that direction. And although I'm not in ownership as it pertains to Never Heard, what it does do is show that David Banner is a viable star rather than a supporting actor. So then I can take that momentum to a Banner vision and do what Cube do. Because I have to say, man, just as a sidebar, 2 of my heroes in the music industry and in the film industry, you barely ever hear their names as it pertains to business. It's Tech Nine.
He's amazing.
Right? From out of Kansas City, right? From out of Kansas City. And Cube. You know, people didn't look at Cube as a viable star. So he said, okay, and he went and did Friday. You know what I mean? So, you know, that within itself, man, just shows that we have to stop waiting on somebody else. And again, from a spiritual standpoint, go back to what we said before. God is giving you the ability to be the Jesus in your own situation.
Exactly. I want to talk a little bit about the business side, because there's, like you said, you're a businessman. There's so much business you are doing.
Can you stop? You are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Like, no, you all right. Like, you're doing a very good job. And I like how you are forming this interview with your own personality and with your own beliefs without making the other person on the other side feel uncomfortable. That's a talent.
Look, I've been doing interviews. Thank you. I've been doing interviews for almost 9 years now, and it's weird because people are like, how have your interviews not gotten viral? How have you not gotten your own show? That's I know that's my purpose. It's because I do inspirational videos and I do interviews, but I always say, I'm like, I think the reason it's never gone viral is because I'm not asking the questions to get numbers. I'm like, I'm not asking questions because I don't want to talk about drama. I'm like, I want.
Can I give you another aspect though? But don't forget your question. Microwave food isn't good for you, and it's not good for you for a reason. Things that are worth something, you have to cook them. It's actually a scientific process of the bonding of elements and you know, different juices and foods and all of this different stuff coming together. Then you have to bake it, or you have to cook it. And if you notice, the quicker that you cook something,
it does not come out
the
good.
less the more unhealthy it is. Like if you fry it and you dump it in a whole bunch of grease, you're gonna have a damn heart attack.
I'm not gonna lie, I've tried that.
What I've learned, and I learned it in my own life, like, man, I know that I'm better from a talent perspective. I know my heart is purer than most of these people. And then I realized things that come quick, leave quick.
They don't last.
Ski has been building this vision for 15, 20 years. And he started at the desk working for other people, you know, and that takes time. But it also, when it does pop like you want it to, it's going to take longer for it to fall off because of the strong foundation that you built. The other thing that I learned with my album, The God Box, how can I expect people to purchase and believe in a conscious album when they themselves are not conscious? That's why I started lecturing. So that means if I have to go city to city and teach people, once they do become conscious, then everybody else is going to fall off, because you're going to have to be conscious. And in order to be conscious, you got to study, read, meditate, pray. That's going to take you 10 years to even get prepared. So be patient. And the thing that's wonderful about patience is that you are also preparing and you are sitting in the space that you want to be in. So fame will come to you on your own terms. You won't have to compromise your body, your mind, or your spirit. So just continue, because you where you're supposed to be.
Oh yeah, no. And that's the thing. I'm like, when people ask me, I'm like, I don't know, it'll just happen when God wants it to happen. And that's the thing. I do this thing. I'm going to get your email after because I send my church notes every week on Tuesdays, and I send it to every artist that I have their email, every label whoever's reached out to me for interviews, every contact I've made in the industry. And it's crazy because the return I get on it, even like randomly, Currency wrote back and he's like, yo, like, thank you for sending me this. August, that's the same thing. You made, like, thank you. And it's just like, that's what I like doing because, again, I'm not in it for fame or just a check. I'm like, I genuinely, like you said, I find a way to
make people. But we do want her to get the check, though. Let's keep that.
No, eventually. But, like, that's not what I'm going after. That check's going to happen when, like you said, when it happens and it's going to blow up. But it makes me happy that you stopped the interview and you said, no, you're comfortable because it's, I'm like, I won't ask a question if I feel like I'm like, oh, he does not want to talk about this. Let me not. But because you brought up business, that's why I wanted to bring it up because you were talking about that even before the interview, and business and entrepreneurship is something, like you said, whether it's Cube or Tech9, they all have this, but they're stuck under the light of, oh, this person is just an artist. So I wanted to get your take on business and some business tips you have for people. Maybe it is for an artist who wants to venture off but can't get out of that spotlight of, oh, you can only be an artist.
Well, I mean, I believe that I am the God of my universe. God bestowed that upon me. You know, that was the reason why when you said what you said, I wanted to make sure that you also praise yourself. Yeah. Because you had to make the decision to listen to something that was higher than yourself. You know, and I think so many times with religion, we take out our responsibility. I don't worry about what they say. People said I would never make it out of the thing. I don't understand about me, everything everybody said I wouldn't do, I've done it over and over and over. Let me tell you, a friend of mine was pitching me for something, and the people had slept on me one time, and then when they saw my business, they like, I didn't know David Banner did that. They were like, you slept on him the first, you gonna keep sleeping on him, and he's gonna be gone. The thing I'll tell people about business is, my mom said being a visionary is a blessing and a curse. You are blessed. God has blessed you to see things that other people can't see, but you're cursed to sit in them alone. Then we turn around and get angry at people because they don't see what we see, but your vision is what makes you special. So I can't expect ordinary people to understand me. I can't understand my people to get the God box. A friend of mine told me, your album is like a Michael Jackson album. It will stand the test of time. He said, don't stop promoting it. He said, people stop promoting in 2 months. He said, you're going to have to push this for 2 to 5 years because the content is that dope. The thing that I want to tell people, and Nipsey Hussle just said this, and it humbled me so much when he said this. I'm paraphrasing. He was like, I'm not saying that I'm that smart. He said, I just didn't quit. That means that you learn from your mistakes. And I think through religion, people think that when you make mistakes or when bad, or what we consider to be bad things, it's God cursing us. It's not. I give this example all the time. If you are turning this way, right, to the right, and God keeps punching you in the face, you like, why is God cursing me? No, idiot. God is saying, go this way.
Go that way.
And as soon as you go this way, you don't feel that no more. Pain is now my barometer. You know what I'm saying? Mistakes are, if let's say, if the first time you did an interview, you blew up, right? If somebody fired you the next day, you wouldn't know how to get there. But because of all of your mistakes, all of the turmoil that you went through, that is how you make your map. Okay, I definitely won't go this way. I know not to deal with this person. Then you can navigate yourself through life with ease once you have the roadmap. That's all business is. And I tell people, when you spend your own money, make a $10,000 mistake. I made a $100,000 mistake. I damn sure won't make that mistake again. It's called bought knowledge. You feel what I'm saying? So the tip that I would give people is, you know, first of all, don't look for anybody else we always looking for cheerleaders. I think the only thing that God, if God has blessed you with a sound mind and a sound body, the only thing you need only blessing that you truly need is the vision. That's it. Once God, I believe that God, he, she, or it isn't such a cruel God that he, she, or it will let you think something that you couldn't do. Now, if you can't see it, then you should stop.
Have you ever had, I swear I just went through this like yesterday, I think, where you've asked for some kind of clarity or want to see something, and then you like God answers it, but you're like, wait, I know I asked you to answer this, but like you answered it like immediately, and then you kind of second guess, like, was that really like that vision? Because like you said, it's like you have to have that clear mind where you think that, but it's still scary because it's like, I know I asked for this, I know you said it, but I'm actually still not sure if it's me or if it's like, you know, like just that whole thought process of vision when God gives that message.
Well, it's sort of different for me because I do a lot of work. I do transcendental meditation. I do a lot of things to clear my mind. Me and Ski, we were just talking about that. My mentor, David Moody, who owns Moody Construction, he told me, David Banner, all the things that you've done to get to where you are were necessary, but you can't continue to do those things in order to get to the level I'm on. So he's like, I used to work 2 days at a time in the studio. Like I would miss the sun 2 times, not go outside for 2 days straight in front of a drum machine, mixing, mastering, all that kind of stuff. And that was fine for that period in my life. Yeah. But in order to be a leader, I must provide vision. And vision means sleep. Vision means isolation, where, you know, things won't stop you from actually hearing that message from God. This is my one criticism about churches in a lot of cases, is that they make too much noise. Like if you're playing all this music and doing all this hooping and hollering, how can you hear God? Exactly. You hear God to me, God is that subtle voice. Whenever something is super loud, that's usually something else. Yeah. So like even I've been doing two weeks straight promotions for Never Heard. I've been like New York. I've been all over from the East Coast to the West Coast. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to the Smoky Mountains, taking 4 days, no phone, no music, just sitting in solitary confinement to be able to, one, calm my body down, sleep, and then to be able to hear the voice clearly. A lot of the times, the reason why we don't hear the voice as clear as we should is because we're moving around too much. You know, I laugh in my lectures. People laugh at me because I say, you pray to God for something, and then you jump up and say, amen. What if he, she, or it was just about to give you the answer and you got up? Exactly. We're not still enough. So, you know, but what I've noticed is that I'm in constant communion with God. Like I'm in constant communication. Like I'm usually talking. It's a relationship. Dick Gregory was the one who actually taught me that. He said, you know, conventional religion has us afraid of God. God loves you. Then you talk to God, you know, just like I'm talking to you. Yeah. Not in a disrespectful way, but if you are a part of God, then you should be able to bring your troubles or bring your questions directly to God. And then it's just like if, ask me a question. No, I'm gonna ask you a question. Okay. Hey, I need $5 in order to get some gas for my truck. Amen. You didn't have time enough to go in your purse, did you? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm in constant communion and in constant communication. So, you know, that's very important. Let me say this really quick before we go too far. I want to get back to Never Heard because that's the reason why I'm here. And I know that you and I will end up talking for a year about spiritual things, and I'll go with you. But I just want to make sure that people know that this is one of the movies that has some redemption. You know, especially in the correctional facilities now, or in the so-called justice system, a black man, for the most part, is guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around. And there was just a story, I think it was 20 to 30 cases where this cop had planted drugs on 20 to 30 people and they were convicted for drug crimes. And now they have to go back and try all of these people. This story addresses someone who was actually innocent. Now, don't get me wrong. He had done a lot of wrong stuff in his life, but he didn't commit that murder.
Yeah.
You know, and this opportunity, you know, this movie and this opportunity gave me, you know, a great way to be a voice for a group of people who have been voiceless for so long. And I think that if you go and see Never Heard, this will be one of the films that can bring, you know, closure as it relates to Aaron's, my character's life. Like it continues to go on every day. But I think if you have a friend or have a family member, I always say this all the time, Obama is one family member away from a crackhead. David Banner is one family member. Well, no, actually not one family member away, like the next family member over from a drug dealer or a hustler or any of those things. So I think, especially really Candy Burris' part in this film, like she's on drugs and her son sells drugs with my son and he has to serve his own mom because he don't want her to go out in the streets and do the things that some people have to do to get drugs. Yeah. And I just think that there's such a wide range of situations in this film, and it's Never Heard. Again, you can go to fathomevents.com, type in Never Heard. It's at all the AMC theaters on November 1st. I think it'd be something that'd be well worth our time, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Thank you for telling us all. Like I said, I can't wait to watch the movie just because of the lessons and because I know you're the main character and getting to know your character even off screen. It's like, I know it's going to be an amazing movie. So thank you.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Make sure on your personal time that you figure out exactly what you want out of life. Work on visualizing it and seeing it yourself. Because if you can't see it, how can you expect anybody else to see it? You know, they talk about, I heard Kobe talking where he would already see the end of the game. Like in his head, when he's shooting a shot, he's thinking about that last shot. Yeah. And again, we have much more power than we give ourselves credit. I read a book that's called As a Man Thinketh, and I'm paraphrasing. James Allen said there were two men. One thought he was everything, one thought he was nothing. They're both right.
I gotta read that. But no, I will. Like I said, I feel like you said, all this, you coming into this building, getting to see Ski, and the conversation we had was very spiritual. I think that God definitely spoke to me through you and some of the things you were saying and vice versa. And I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot of things in this interview, in the movie Never.
Do you have a fast?
No.
I just got off a 30-day fast.
30 days?
Yeah, I just got off a 30-day fast. Do a day fast. Okay. You know what I'm saying? We're just drinking water. You know, do 24 hours. Start off with one day. And in this one day, you know, take some time to reflect. You know, the first time you fast, maybe you should get to yourself. You know what I mean? On a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I was like, should I do that? Because not during the week.
Yeah, But once you get used to it, and there is so much clarity that you get, because what people don't understand, one of the reasons why Americans don't heal the way that they're supposed to is because our bodies spend so much time on digesting food, and they teach us to eat so much food that you can't connect mentally, physically, or spiritually with anything, yourself, God, the rest of the world, and find a way to get still. You know, stillness is really important, and I bet you the next time you see me, our conversation will be different, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
No, I really enjoyed this interview. So thank you for taking the time to come.
Oh, one last thing. They want something to do with David Banner and the music side of me, davidbanner.com, because I was pushing the movie so hard that I didn't even push my company. And I think it's very important for people to know that I still need to make money on the God Box. So make sure that you go to davidbanner.com, and Dash Radio is the place to be. And I'm so proud of you all.
You know what? We're going to play the God Box on we're going to do the God Box takeover.
Thank you.
On our stage. So we're going to do that. So Dash Radio, David Banner. Thank you.
Thank you.